My name is Carlos Cruz-Casas, also known as Triple C or C3. I'm the Chief Innovation Officer for Miami-Dade County Department of Transportation and Public Works. As an innovator in mobility, I get to work with talented, innovative people like the ones in here. The goal, the topic for today is about autonomous vehicle technology applied to shared mobility, right? So how about we take a moment and basically kind of hear from you a little bit. Who are you? Who are you working for? And what each one of your companies bring to the mobility system here in Miami?
I'll start? Yeah. I'm Shashwat Patel. I am the Director of Autonomous Ride Hail for Ford Motor Company. Ford Motor Company brings to this relationship and the mobility landscape in general 100 years of automotive manufacturing experience and a ton of expertise, and also the ability to homologate Argo's awesome self-driving technology into a vehicle platform that powers this collaboration and hopefully many others in the future.
Can you all hear? Is it good? Perfect.
Do we actually need microphones? No, Megan Sirjane-Samples. I'm the Director of Government Relations for Lyft. My girl in the back, Hype Squad, love it. So, I'm going to be super lame and say our mission is to be the world's best transportation platform in the country, and I honestly think that we're succeeding in doing that. So you open up our platform and you have multiple modes of transportation that you can choose from a traditional rideshare, bike, scooter, you can rent a car, and now, thanks to this partnership, you can hail an autonomous vehicle as well with the platform. So really, that's what we advocate and we do, is to provide multimodal options to consumers that supplement existing public transportation that we have today. And just like a little bit of a plug, when COVID happened and bus lines were shut down, we were able to partner with Miami-Dade County and we're able to supplement bus transit and routes through our online platform and system. So these are all the things that we're trying to provide and offer in the community here today.
And I might say that as a user of some of these platforms.
Just Lyft, right? Lyft only.
Some of these platforms, I have enjoyed of the ability to, you missed something there, but to take a regular car, to take a big car, it's share ride with other people that I don't know, at least until I got in, to take a bicycle, and even in Columbus, Ohio, right? In self-driving car here in Miami Beach, we'll talk a little bit about that too, but also real-time transit information as an option to provide people to the right solution, right? So I'll put that in there. Thank you.
For sure, we want to be your one-stop option. You open up the app and you have a whole multitude of transit options within the platform to choose from.
Cool. I'm Shenglong. I lead the go-to-market product management team at Argo AI. For those of you who aren't quite as familiar with Argo AI, we are a autonomous products and services company headquartered in Pittsburgh, but we operate in 8 different cities across the US and Germany. We produce software, hardware, high-definition maps, all the back-end services that you need to power a self-driving car. So if you want to think about it a little bit more contextually, we have our radars, our LiDARs, our cameras on the cars looking at the scene around us. We use that information to predict where cars are going to go, where humans are going to go, and then figure out where our cars should drive themselves. So for this partnership, we have Ford with our base vehicle platform. We have Lyft with the network, and then we have Argo powering the cars to actually navigate the streets.
Excellent. So now you're stealing from my talking points, but so let me start with you, Shashwat, right? Many of us have seen the Ford vehicles driving around, right? And they're rather noticeable. I don't know if you guys see, not only because, and it's not because of the technology crown, I'm gonna call it, it's a tiara, right? But probably because it's the only car in Miami that uses a turn signal, right? So could you explain a little bit of what Ford is doing here in Miami and when we see the vehicles riding around?
Yeah, absolutely. I like that. So we're really excited about where we're at. In July 2021, Ford and Lyft and Argo announced a collaboration to avail our self-driving vehicles onto the Lyft network. And today, those vehicles are available for hail if you're a Lyft rider. So if you open up your Lyft app and the ride you're trying to select falls within our operational parameters, you would see a Ford self-driving car come up as an option for you to take for your ride. And that's a pretty tremendous milestone for, I think, all of our businesses that appeared on this panel. We're cognizant of a lot of these riders that are in these cars, it's probably their first interaction with autonomous technology, and for all of us, it's really important to build trust at this stage and really hone in on customer feedback and make sure that we're incorporating that as we continue to think about scaling and developing cross-functionally here in Miami and beyond.
Excellent. And for many, again, this is a pilot started, is still small, right, in Miami Beach. We'll describe a little bit more about that if you can. But while you do that, could you also kind of tell us a little bit more of what you're hearing from the community, right? The people riding. For many, we're talking here among friends, and we're talking here people that probably have experience and purposely, intentionally have gone to conferences to try it on these vehicles, this device, this technology. But there's regular people in Miami Beach basically taking the opportunity, might be by surprise. You collecting information. Can you tell us a little bit more about the experience and what you're hearing from it?
Yeah, for sure. We've done a lot of dedicated research about our user experience, and it's extremely important to all of us, again. And for us, it's also really important to establish that feedback loop between the end rider experience and then all of our cross-functional development efforts. That's how we're going to intelligently scale this technology, just taking that feedback into account. We've been really fortunate and thrilled to see that we've been getting some pretty good feedback from our riders so far. I think because we've integrated our vehicles into the normal Lyft platform and the ride request flow is very analogous to what riders are used to, a lot of the learning curve for riders is probably more around the nuances of the actual autonomous vehicle. But again, we're thrilled to see a lot of 5-star ride reviews and know that we have a lot of work to do to continue to build that trust and earn that repeated ridership from people that are taking these early rides with us.
So in theory, there's no driver there. So who gets the tip, right? So that's a good question for you, Megan. So the question is,
Me, I get the tip.
Yeah, no. So I want to hear, from one thing is technology, right? And I've been there. I told you even yesterday, I basically forced myself to go into the beach and try it. And when I have my experience, right? But I want to hear from you. Is people have the options. People that use Lyft, hopefully, for other vehicles. Is any difference in the reaction?
Yeah, no, for sure. So the beauty of it is that we've delivered over 100,000 rides to date, and the overall rating experience has been a 4.97. I don't know if anybody here in this room is willing to open up and say what their rating is on a Lyft or Uber app, but a 4.97 is really great. And the beauty of it is that they're saying that they're opening up the app, and it's no different than any other ride experience that they're experiencing today and getting in, and it's actually somewhat better than any other rider experience that they're having, which is great. And the other part is that they get in and they're bored, which is exactly what we want them to be. And they hop in the ride and they're like, oh, this is cool and exciting at first, and they're like, oh, here we are, nothing's happening, nothing bad, this is great, we're getting from point A to point B with no interruptions and no accidents, and that's exactly what we want. So the overall experience that we're getting in feedback from our consumers is that it's just like any other ride, if not better, and it's a 4.97 on a rater experience, and I'll follow up with everybody afterwards on what your personal rating is inside the app, because I guarantee 4.97 is probably better.
But the question is, can we trust that, or is Alex Roy basically riding up and down and just keeping that at 5? So let's be real about that, right? And I gave a 5-star yesterday. I was looking at his name. I promised Brandon I would give him a shout out. He was a safe driver. It's experience, but at the same time is. You're sitting there, the new guidelines tells you that you need to sit basically across from the driver in general, right? So you're seeing this guy that has his hands on the wheel, but is not touching it, right? And for me, I'm comfortable with that. But, at the same time, he's talking to me and he's telling me about how things are working. Do you feel that you're getting a good mix of riders? That is not Alex and his friends and everyone around that, and basically providing a good start. What are the type of things you hear in addition to that? And is it a good mix?
Yeah, I can take that one. So for everyone's context, we have 2 test specialists sitting in the cars for rider comfort and safety. They are not operating the vehicle as much as just there just in case something happens. And then I actually did talk to a bunch of them and get a bunch of feedback. And I think the response was very similar to what Megan had described. I will say one anecdote though, which is the test specialist told me that there was one set of riders who for the entirety of the ride insisted that our test specialists were steering the vehicle with their feet. I would say I welcome everyone
We have
here.
magic foot pedals now?
Magic foot pedals. So I would say I welcome everyone here to come to Miami Beach, come take a ride on one of our vehicles, and you tell me whether we've selected test specialists with really dexterous and talented feet. Carlos, what do you think?
So Brandon and Nick, that were having fun, basically a great conversation that I had. And it was, I tell you, definitely is, you feel a little odd at the beginning because we're not accustomed to have Lyft drivers, maybe Uber drivers that follow the law to the T, right? So we're going at speed limit,
Especially
guys.
not in Miami, let's be real.
We're going at speed limit. And I'll get serious here for a moment, but even making the turns, it did a very sharp turn at a slow speed, right? And I say that because unfortunately we lost the life of a cyclist a couple of years ago, an intersection very close to the one I did, and I noticed that. So from that point of view, it is the appropriate approach to do. It was slow to the expectation that we had, but perhaps we need to change that mentality. How do you address all the honking that happens, everyone around the car, because they're not seeing why the vehicle stopped. They're not seeing what you see. They're not seeing all the eyes and ears that Argo have, right? So to me, how do you address that from a communication point of view? Because ultimately there's a perception that it might not be working properly, but our system that's not working properly, and we need to start driving more by the law, by the way that we're designing our streets. So I'll throw that out. Sash, I'm not sure you want to talk about that too, is what's the communications approach towards, making sure that people realize that why the vehicle is going slow, making turns slow, basically not accelerating like a Miamian would do. So it's how you handle all that.
Absolutely. So I think I'll answer this in 2 ways. First of all, the vehicles appear slow by Miami standards. Totally agreed.
Yeah.
I will also say that I get beeped at more than our cars do in Miami. I also follow the law. So I think there's an adjustment period to be made as we go along and people understand that we can't just drive recklessly, right? We have to be able to drive in a safe manner. We have to be able to watch for pedestrians, watch for non-compliant actors, watch for the variety of things, frozen iguanas falling from trees, right? Like in Miami in the winter, that happen in the city. I think the second part to answer your question is there is a boundary of what is more naturalistic driving. And I think that is something that we're approaching all the time. We're always thinking about, what makes sense in the context of social behavior that may not make sense necessarily as a strict rule. But those are judgments that we make over time and things that we will evolve towards.
Got it. Let me switch the conversation real quick, and I'm going to look at you, Megan, for now, right? So how are you thinking about engaging the state level about autonomous ride sharing, right, and the Lyft platform?
Check 1, 2. So I think education is really the biggest point of this. If you look 10 years ago when we were approaching the state legislature and telling them, you're going to get in a car with a complete stranger on a rideshare platform, and you're going to feel totally fine, and it's going to feel like second nature to you, we were told that we were crazy, and nobody understood it and understood the technology and the innovation and where we were moving in a transportation world. And I think we're kind of revisiting that all over again now and telling them, so now not only can you open up the Lyft platform, but you can also hail an autonomous vehicle on that, and we're really experiencing that all over again. And my conversations with elected officials, and they're like, there is no world that I will ever get in a car without a steering wheel, and without a driver, and without a gas pedal and a brake. And I was like, oh, you said the exact same thing to me about getting into a car with a stranger, so bet we'll see it. And so really it's education, right? It's getting them to experience it. It's getting them to feel comfortable with the technology and with the innovation that we had to do once again before. And that's really where we're driving and we're moving. We're lucky that in Florida, we've had like some real visionaries and legislative champions who have seen our vision, see where we're trying to go and move, and have enabled us to pass like regulatory framework that has made Florida one of the most ideal markets for us to launch a partnership like we have today with Ford and Argo. Like, is it perfect? No, but we are setting the stage to have the conversation and have the experiences that we can take to other markets and show legislators that like this is real, this is happening today, this is not a far-fetched idea. You can ride hail today an autonomous vehicle on the app and let them experience it in real life in real time. And nothing can equate to real life experience with somebody than anything else. So that's the beauty that we have in the state of Florida with this partnership, and that we're able to showcase like all the hard work that these companies have been able to collaborate and come together on.
Excellent, excellent. And I'll put a pin on that one. You said that it's here, is real, is happening, right? We'll talk about that in a little bit. But you know, why it is so important for the three companies to come together, right? And why the collaboration is important for advancing rideshare autonomously, right? And if you can add from each one of your point of view, why this autonomous ride sharing brings value to a community like Miami.
Yeah, sure. I can start there. So I think this partnership's it's really unique for Ford at least, and it's the first time that we've brought together the automotive and the OEM expertise with Argo's self-driving technology and the Lyft demand network, and sort of all of the ingredients that you need for a successful autonomous ride-hail business. And each of us has a ton of domain knowledge in each of our areas of expertise, and we have the scale, the knowledge, the history, and the experience there. So I think from that perspective, this is really unique. And from operating this service when we started last year, we've picked up a ton of operational and technical learnings that are feeding back into the way that we develop week to week, and so. The partnership like this, it's sort of those are the types of things that speak to like this value and why this type of collaboration is so important to advancing autonomous technology. I can kick it over to maybe Shenglong.
Yeah, okay, I'm back. I think Shashwat is right here, right? I think this partnership is really, really important because the domain is very hard for one company to tackle, and we see that all three companies have different types of expertise, right? Argo brings the self-driving technology itself to the market, but by ourselves, we don't have the vehicles to deploy them on, and that's where Ford comes in, right? They've been in business for over 100 years. They manufacture vehicles that are safe, that are robust, that are reliable, and then Lyft comes in with their network. They operate in so many different cities all across the US and allows for that kind of scale. So as we advance the partnership with all three companies, we think it's something that will really benefit everyone as a whole.
And could you add to that?
I was going to say,
exactly.
I'm happy to chime in.
We skipped you, but so we, from the technology point of view and from the business model, I guess we start seeing this idea that we're migrating from selling cars to fleet-based and all that. But why this is of value to cities, right? What do you think autonomous ride sharing brings to our community?
I'll jump in that and say I think like a huge value and what I see is that we're gonna be able, like especially through our partnership and the platform, people who in their lifetime would never be able to experience riding in an autonomous vehicle will be able to experience it through the platform. Whether it's because of economic status or where they live, they now have access to a transportation option that otherwise they would never be able to have before. So I think that's like really at the end of the day, the real value to our partnership. And then going back a little bit too, and I'll probably, get in trouble for this for my comms talking points, but like the beauty of this partnership is that it enables us to focus on each one of us of like what we do really well. What Lyft does really well is to be a transportation platform. And us selling our level 5 division was probably the best business decision that we ever made because it enabled us to great partnerships, whether it was Ford or Argo, which are my favorite, by the way, don't tell anybody else, and develop these great relationships so like we can really make this scalable and we can deliver it to people who would otherwise never have access and never be able to experience this in their lifetime.
That's a great point, and I think they're recording this, so you're.
I know, I'm in so much trouble right now.
So there's so much trouble. So when you say that we'll not be able to experience, and I think that's great, and I was going to leave this for last, but I think this is the perfect moment. How about scalability? Like even in Miami Beach is a small area, right? In Miami-Dade County is rather large. It's larger than some states, right? How can we ensure that as we progress, because again, you have your goals, you have your values, you have the things you need to do. We as a public entities have ours, right? We want to make sure that we provide mobility outcomes and all the things that you probably heard about today. How can we ensure that we provide access to not the 2.8 million residents, but representative areas from throughout Miami-Dade County to experience it?
Yeah, sure. I want to start with saying Miami is really special to Ford and Argo for sure. We've been here since 2018, and it's been a tremendous journey for us, and it's just that, it's a journey, and it's something that we're going to approach over a 5, 10, 15, 20 year horizon, and it's going to be approached step by step, block by block. In the last 4 years, we made a ton of progress. Argo technology has advanced quite a bit. Our collective footprint has expanded a ton. We've set up multiple facilities, created over 100 jobs, and built a lot of relationships with local civic leaders like you, Carlos, and really stressed AV education for the community at large. For Ford, over the long term, I think our intention is to continue to operate these types of pilots and services, and we've done many of them, including this one. And the beauty of that is it gets us direct feedback from real Miamians that are interacting with these services, and allows us to take that feedback and again incorporate it into our cross-functional development. Over the long term and on a broader horizon, our intention is to operate in a world and provide the services where there's a lot of cohesion between private mobility services and public mobility services. Our track record here in Miami, the type of proactive outreach we've done, the type of relationships we've built, the community outreach we've done, hopefully speaks to that intent and that desire. And that's something that is really near and dear to the Ford heart and is going to continue so long as we're here in Miami.
Excellent. So we heard today some of the UAMs, urban air mobility, that say they're going to get their certified vehicles in 2024, maybe 25, getting in operation 26, 27. Can you talk a little bit about timeline in terms of when do you see this kind of continue to grow a little bit into more penetration into the market to grow?
Yeah, sure. Without getting too into the specifics, I think for the rest of this year, we're really looking forward to expanding our footprint on this pilot, and then in general for this collaboration, taking over to Austin, Texas as well. That's another objective for us for this year. In terms of, I'll leave it at that for now.
He will leave it at that for now. Anything to add?
I'm happy to add. So we're planning to add 1,000 more autonomous vehicles to our platform and launching in 5 additional markets, in addition to our Austin market with these great partners that you see on the stage today.
Excellent. So here in Miami-Dade County, we have a heightened focus to have the public sector and the private sector work together towards common goals, right? And that goal is to steer mobility and any mobility solution that comes here to Miami-Dade County to have a positive outcome in the solution that we bring. With that said, what's ahead? What's ahead of us? We're not going to talk about timing in terms of years, but for this partnership, beyond this partnership, areas expanding. You touched a little bit on that. Well, how about the vehicle size, right? Ultimately, a 2-seater, which is what it is today, is still not quite in line to the ultimate goal. And I understand it's baby steps, and we'll get there. Where do we see more of these kind of shared ride vehicles? I'm going to look at you too, Shenglong. You do have the ID bus basically running in Germany, right? When can we start seeing these purposes-built vehicles and sharing more rides?
So today in the partnership, we do have a seating cap on the vehicles, but as we progress the pilot forward and we become fully driverless, eventually there will be a point where that won't be the case. Fully driverless as in no test specialists up front. I think when we talk about other form factors, we do have the ID Buzz with Volkswagen over in Germany. That's being rolled out. We've been in discussions with Ford about a variety of potential plans for the future, but I don't think we're quite ready to announce any of those yet.
It doesn't have to be this CoMotion. We have CoMotion Miami next year too, right? So I want to put pressure here. I want to start seeing, and I know, Alex, you and I were talking about, Ford, they make a lot of vehicles. They actually have a vehicle called Ford Transit. You know that? So I know that to me is the goal to start seeing. I know we are on the right path. We are taking our steps to get where we need to go. But at least I'm looking forward to continue to work in this partnership. This seems to be like a partnership between three entities, is really between four entities. We are here, the cities are here, the public sector is here. We need to work together. And again, from our point of view, I don't care about that much as about technology, but about the outcomes of technology given to our community. So with that said, I would love for perhaps to kind of some final words before we wrap things up. I know that, this crowding here is looking forward to the happy hour. So.
Yeah, I can maybe kick us off with some closing remarks. I think, thank you first. Thanks everyone for having us here. Really glad to be here. I think if there's a point that I want to stress, it's that I think collectively we take being good stewards of this city and any city that we operate in very, very important. It's very near and dear to our heart, like I said earlier, and being part of a cohesive transportation ecosystem is that end goal. And this is the first step on a very long journey to reach that end state and continuously learning, working together as partners, learning from our riders, from our civic partnerships and general community partnerships is how we're going to get there. So really excited to be here and continue to learn.
Yeah, for sure. First and foremost, Ford and Argo are my favorite. Just putting that out there again.
again, right? So.
Also, Miami-Dade County.
I was not going to fish for it, but thank you. Yes.
No, but really, it's partnerships like this that allow us to grow and scale and learn. And I'm really fortunate to be a part of a great team and this great partnership where we're able to make this scalable and bring it to the masses and allow people to experience something unlike anything else that they would ever have imagined. So I'm really looking forward to the future partnerships, future cities, and knowing that this was a benchmark place that we've been able to launch in and grow from, and people will always remember that.
Excellent. Shenglong?
Yeah, look, I think Miami-Dade holds a very special place in, I think, the hearts of everyone at Argo, realistically. We found Miami-Dade to be extremely forward-thinking, extremely innovative in the embracing of new technologies such as autonomous vehicles. And honestly, it's made operations a dream. So I think in that partnership and in partnership with Ford and Lyft, we're really excited to keep going.
Excellent. So I think this was a coffee-less talk that we're having here. I'm thrilled to at least have, like I said, I really enjoy the work that we do. It's bringing innovation and mobility innovation to our community. We can do it, but we cannot do it alone. And working with companies like Ford, Argo, and Lyft. Just kidding. So no, no, I'm not. I'm just joking. I know we definitely have a lot of potential to continue to grow. A lot of partnerships we've done over the years, and I'm looking forward to ensure. And again, my role. And again, I'm not hard on the companies. I'm hard about we need to achieve the common goals, right? And that's one of the work that we're working together. We have a great partnership, with some other cities, thanks to the Knight Foundation that basically have brought together a cohort of cities to really bring the conversation from autonomous vehicle technology to put the residents in front and center, and we can talk about that at the next session. But, thank you very much. Thank you for being here today. Tim, you're going to take care of the announcement, or should I?
I am indeed.
Excellent.
Thank you so much. A round of applause.
Excellent. Thank you.